In the middle of Central Asia, there is a ghost. The outline of what was once the fourth largest lake on Earth. A sea bigger than Ireland, fed by two great rivers, home to 24 species of fish, surrounded by port towns that sent catches to markets across the Soviet Union. Then the water was taken, diverted into cotton fields. In over 40 years, one of the largest lakes on the planet turned into one of the largest deserts. That's the Aral Sea story, and most people know that part. Here is what most people do not know. The northern half is coming back. Kazakhstan built a dam, sent water back in, and fish are swimming again where there was only salt and sand. Former port towns that had been abandoned are recovering. The southern half, the Uzbekistan side, is still dying. Not because no one knows how to fix it, not because there is no money, but because someone decided it is worth more dead than alive. To understand why the South Aral cannot come back, there is one geographic rule that controls everything. The Aral Sea has no outlet, no river drains out of it, no connection to the ocean. The only way water leaves is through evaporation. That means its survival depends entirely on how much flows in from those two rivers. Take the rivers away and the sea does not shrink, it disappears. The math is that simple. In the 1960s, the Soviet Union diverted both rivers into cotton irrigation canals. Both of them. The sea went on a timer. As the water dropped, the basin got shallower. Shallower water heats up faster. Warm water evaporates faster. Less water means the basin gets shallower again. The spiral feeds itself. The salt that had always been in the water stayed behind as the water left. In 1960, the Aral held 10 grams of salt per liter. At 14 grams, commercial fish start dying. The Aral crossed that point in the 1970s. By the 2000s, it had passed 100, saltier than the ocean. By 1987, 20 years into the diversion, the sea had lost so much water that it split in two. The north half, fed by the Syr Darya, set in Kazakhstan. The south half, fed by the Amu Darya, set in Uzbekistan. What was left behind was not just desert, it was poisoned desert. Decades of pesticide runoff from the cotton fields had settled into the lakebed. As the water receded, the wind picked up that residue and carried it across the region. Around 1.1 million people live in Karakalpakstan today. Roughly 70% carry chronic health conditions. Tuberculosis rates are epidemic. Infant mortality is worse than in most of South Asia. The toxic dust has been detected as far away as the Arctic. Kazakhstan inherited the same disaster on its side. So how did one country turn it around? And why has the other refused to try? In 2005, Kazakhstan finished building the Aral Dam. The total cost was $86 million. The World Bank contributed $64.5 million of that. The idea was straightforward. Build a barrier across the narrowest point of the former sea. Stop the water from draining south. Let the Syr Darya fill the northern basin back up. It worked faster than anyone expected. Within a year, water levels had risen 4 meters. Within 3 years, commercially viable fish populations had returned. Salinity had dropped to near 1960 levels. Fishing boats came back to Aralsk, a town that had spent 20 years staring at a desert where its harbor used to be. The southern sea, on the Uzbekistan side, got nothing. The Amu Darya still does not reach it. Every drop is pulled into irrigation canals before it gets close. Cotton farming still dominates southern Uzbekistan's economy. The government has claimed to spend $1 billion on Aral restoration, a figure that local scientists and environmentalists have openly called fiction. Something else is going on, something that only becomes visible when you look at what the receding water left behind. As the southern Aral shrank, the exposed seabed did not stay empty. Drilling rigs began appearing on the dried lake floor in the early stages of the sea's retreat. At first, a few, then more each year, following the retreating water line onto newly exposed ground. The geology beneath the Aral Sea was known since the Soviet era. Geological surveys in the 1950s identified the basin as potentially rich in oil and gas, but as long as the sea was there, drilling was impossible. As the water left, the seabed became more accessible. In 2006, the year after Kazakhstan finished its dam, Lukoil, the Russian state-linked energy company, signed a production-sharing agreement to explore and extract hydrocarbons from the Uzbek seabed. The Uzbek state oil company, Uzbekneftgaz, was a partner in the deal. By 2015, exploratory drilling had confirmed reserves in what they named the West Aral field. In 2017, a Russian government exploration company called Rosgeo completed a full seismic survey of the dried basin alongside Uzbek partners. Their result, 11 separate prospective oil and gas areas identified across what used to be the seafloor. Today, the active consortium extracting from that seabed includes Lukoil, China's state oil company CNPC, and Uzbekneftgaz. This is not a side story, this is the answer. A production sharing agreement cannot simply be cancelled. The infrastructure already built on the seabed cannot be moved. The revenue flowing from those contracts cannot be replaced overnight. Refilling the southern Aral would not just cost money. It would physically destroy assets, drown wells, and void agreements with two of the most powerful energy players in the world. Every year the seabed stays dry, more is built on it. Every new well makes restoration more expensive. The sea dying was not just a tragedy, it was an economic opportunity, and the opportunity has now been locked in. The solutions exist on paper. It is worth understanding why each one fails, because they all fail for the same reason. The first is the Kazakhstan model: restore the Amu Darya flow and build dams like the north. The problem is that the Amu Darya is not the Syr Darya. It passes through multiple countries and irrigates agricultural land across almost the entire region before it gets near the Aral. Restoring meaningful flow means cutting water to farms across Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, and parts of Afghanistan. In 2014 and 2015, regional talks on exactly this collapsed. Uzbekistan walked away. Another one is to refill the sea from the outside. Pump water in from the Caspian Sea, roughly 300 kilometers to the west, through a pipeline across the Ustyurt Plateau. There is an immediate problem. The Caspian is itself shrinking because of climate change. Russia and Iran, which border it, are not going to agree to give their water away. But the deeper problem is simpler. Refilling the southern Aral means flooding the seabed. The seabed has oil wells on it. Every solution hits the same obstacle, not a political one, not a technical one, a financial one. The Aral is not a unique tragedy. It is a completed version of a recurring story. Antarctica sits on vast mapped mineral and hydrocarbon deposits, protected only by a treaty that could first be challenged in 2048. The geology is already known. The extraction infrastructure does not yet exist, but the logic is the same one that played out beneath the Aral, just earlier in the sequence. The Aral Sea did not simply die, it was economically repurposed, and the repurposing is now self-defending. The question was never whether anyone could save South Aral. The question is whether it would ever be worth it to try. Share your thoughts in the comments, and if this kind of story is what brought you here, there's more where that came from. Subscribe to True Geo and stay with us.